Welcome back, crew. Today we are going through the much anticipated Doffy into Ace matchup. In this guide, we're going to talk about our key cards. We're going to talk about their key cards. We're going to talk about the curves, us going first versus going second, and then we're going to have a look at some games. Let's jump in. All right, our general strategy won't go too much into this now because we'll talk more about it later, but just so you know sort of what's going on, what we want to do is we want to head towards that 10 cost Doffy. That 10 cost Doffy is a big body, 10,000 power, that's going to give us some attacking power back into their board. This is going to be a key card. It's not essential that it gets down super quick. What we want to get down super quick is the Virgo though, because they've got a lot of cards which can bounce ours, and we want to prevent that from happening so we don't lose our value on the board. We need our value on the board to pressure their hand, because their hand is one of the hardest things for us to deal with. We need to keep our bodies for that. Virgo is a must as soon as possible, but you still don't have that sort of time pressure that you do into other matchups like you do the Mihawk. Get the Virgo down as soon as you can. Anything that's on the board before Virgo is likely to be lost. We are then going into the Nora Beam defensive sort of style, combined with our leader just to redirect attacks to where we want them to go. Let's have a look at our entire deck here. All right, we're going to go through the deck. I like to break it down into components. If you've seen my other videos, you would have seen this component, so feel free to skip past the deck section of the video. If you haven't, let's go through what each of the components are. So we've got our ramp on play cards. These three here are all ramp on play. Really essential cards to get to the 10 cost very quickly. So each one of these ramps one active. Ramping one active is important. Now we can also ramp on our opponent's turn with these cards here. Dellinger, we gain one rested Don, or like this gains a rested Don. This gains arrested on, this gains arrested on, this effectively gains arrested on. So Dellinger, you gain arrested on and you get to search your deck, really cool. When you combine it with this Doffy here, sending it into the Dellinger, this is a -1, this is a +1, you're net 0. Same here, you use this effect -1, send it into Monet, but you ramp 2 cards, so now you're actually +1. So this is a really handy ramp on curve card. The treble here, when you -1, you get 1 back. So it sort of counteracts, but if you've got a treble and a Dellinger, well, now you're getting the +1 from here when you neg, and then you're getting +1 from this. So if you got both on the field, you're actually +1 here. Treble is useful in general, however he is a 2k and he's probably best kept as a 2k rather than using him for this effect. If you're desperate, you play him. That's what Treble's there for. Doffy here, you need to have 1 active, you rest it, and then you gain 1 active, so effectively you're gaining 1 rested, but you do have to have an active one for this to work. Sugar does not ramp. Sugar does not ramp, but she's in here because she gives us access to some tricks here. And what Sugar allows us to do is play 1 down. So when she's KO'd, you get to play a 5 cost or less. And when you play a 5 cost or less, you might be using one of these cards with on play ramp to gain ramp on your opponent's turn. That's why she's in there. The reason I wanted to put that in there specifically is because if you use this and play one of these cards, you're then gaining 1 active Don on your opponent's turn. This can be important because if you've already got 1 up and then you use this effect, now you've got 2 up and then you've got access to these event cards, taking your opponent by surprise. All right, now our deck is focused around the on KO effects, and the on KO effects usually happen with a -1 Don. Some of them do anyway. This is what our deck is all about, on KO -1 Don. -1 Don primarily from our leader, but we also do have other cards here like the 2 events and the Baby 5 and the Viola all have negative Don effects to get a really powerful effect. So Dellinger we talked about, we get a search. Now that's just on KO. If we neg a Don from Viola, we get to find an event in our trash and bring it back to hand. Really useful in a deck that is centered around Noro beams, and this is a very important card for this matchup into Ace, because Ace, we need to use these Noro beams on their Whitebeards, and Viola is giving us a free block. And so basically one turn your Noro beam, next turn your Viola, you're getting the Noro beam, so turn after that you're using Noro beam again. Just incredible power out of these two here. Baby 5 is another really good one. You neg 1, that's after you've already redirected into it. So you're getting neg 2 here for the turn. And you get to get a life. Really important for this matchup also. And I'll go through exactly why this card is devastating to our opponent. Sugar, she doesn't have a neg Don, just the on KO, bringing out a 5 cost or less. And then Monet is really, really strong. You get the 2 ramp, but you also get 2 cards, trash 1. So you got, you just fix up your hand. Really, really good card, and particularly useful after you get the 10 cost down to let this one go and then, you know, do back-to-back 10 costs. Enough about this component of the deck. Let's have a look at the beaters. Beaters are important in this deck as well. Virgo, obviously, this is a hard one for this matchup because Virgo, you need to use the negative 2000 to really hit their board, but you also need the Virgo to protect your board. And this is the trickiest part in this matchup. So if you lose the Virgo, then you're susceptible to Red Rocks, you're susceptible to Josu's. You cannot lose a Virgo, but you also have to swing with the Virgo, which means you need to, the way to play this game, to play this matchup, you need to have the defense around this card, whether it be a blocker or you're leaving Don up to make sure this thing survives. This thing has to survive. The biggest component of this game, and I'm going to say it in here, I like to bury things just where people won't find them. The biggest thing that you need to be aware of with this game is if you're counting their board versus how many hits you can sustain into this. This is how you win this matchup, is just making sure their board does not have enough hitters to take down Virgo. If they've got 1 on board, plus their leader, you're able to redirect 1 and potentially block out 1. That is ideal. If they've got 3 on board, you're probably going to lose the Virgo if you swing with it, and that might be swing with Virgo, establish another one. All right, our other beaters, Doffy, obviously 10,000 power, really strong. This at 9,000 power, also very strong. This one here, when we place it down, we get an extra body. And then we've got more things hitting at face, taking down their cards in hand. Monet is in there because if we lose Monet, we're okay with that. She is, in my opinion, a beater of the deck, where Rosie here has a much more important role of restanding Don for these cards. You're probably less likely to want to attack with this than you are with Monet. Resters are important for this deck. We've got 3 things that can rest down their board. We have the Uso Hachi. When you're on 8 Don, you can rest a 4 cost. Very important because the Marco is a painful card in their deck. They get draw 2 when Marco is KO'd, which is a blocker. And they also will get another one if they have a Don attached to their leader. So that's 3 cards they're going to draw if they block with Marco. This is a big component of their strategy. If you can rest that down with Uso Hachi, you're getting past that, you're taking away their value, and you're able to hit it face. Really, really strong. They do also have an Uta, which is a 6 cost, which they can get out for 2, but it does have a cost of 6. Uso Hachi cannot rest that down. Sanji can. Sanji can rest it down and be a rush character. Really useful. Last one is the Noro Beam, one of our go-tos in the deck because it's going to rest down Whitebeards. Rest down their attackers, but we might also plan to rest down their blockers for the future turn. So Really, really powerful card. This is going to be the key card for this matchup. All right, and yeah, the events that we've got. So obviously we've just talked about Nora Beam. Nora Beam, I should also mention, is a trigger that can trigger an active Don. So maybe I should have put that in the Don on opponent's turn or ramp on opponent's turn. But anyway, we also have the Bullet String. Bullet String is not going to be as useful in this matchup because they tend to have such big bodies. The only thing you're going to use Bullet String for in this match is to save a Virgo. That is what the Bullet String is for. Divine Departure. Now, we cannot underestimate Divine Departure. In my current list, I'm running 2 Divine Departures. I want to run 3. And it's for this matchup. Divine Departure, when you have a Don attached to anything, you can then rest down 5 Don, so there's 6 Don required for this effect. But when you do this, you get to neg 8,000 power from any character for the turn. And I'm talking about Whitebeards here. You throw this on a Whitebeard, all of a sudden it's a 4,000. Now your leader is able to attack into the Whitebeard and apply a lot of pressure. You throw this with a Virgo, Virgo brings it back down to 2. Anything is wiping out this Whitebeard. This card really changes the game, and then you've still got 4 Don left over, if you're at the 10, to play out a Sugar, which, could ramp, maybe not, but you play out a Sugar, which can turn into something great in the following turn, or in their turn. They are the event cards. As I said, we got 2 very important event cards in this match. All right, buried little gem here for you guys. I like to do these for 1, if you're watching the full video, I'm going to reward you with that extra little nugget. And 2, I don't want ace players to know about this particular thing. So we're about to talk about curve, and guess what? Going first is actually better for us in this matchup. And I'm going to say this in a sec, but I'm going to explain why right now. In the matchup, we have a better win rate going first, even though ace has a better curve going second. The reason why I believe we have the better matchup is because when ace gets his stuff out on curve, it means he can play less things out per turn. And the reason why I'm saying it in the event section is because when we're considering things like the Nora Beam, the Nora Beam is able to rest something, and our leader is able to redirect one thing. That's 2 things taken care of without, really any commitment here. Now, if we have the, going first, if they're going first, they're getting an extra Don each turn. This means they're able to play out an extra thing each turn. And if they're doing that, then that's one less thing we can actually deal with, because they're going to have an extra thing on board that they can attack through, particularly into the Virgo. So I actually think we have the better curve because of the Noro versus the Doffy. Anyway, let's jump into the curve right now. All right, guys, so here is the curve going first. Now into ace, the data suggests that we have a stronger advantage if we are going first. And from everything I've discussed in the deck, you'll probably understand a little bit why that might be. Now, when we're going first, this is our general curve. So 1, we're dropping a Dallinger. Turn 1 Don makes sense. This is better than dropping a Sugar because we can get the ramp effect, the search effect on their turn. Well, not their turn 2. I mean, whether you do it here or here doesn't really matter. Effectively get one of these out one turn, one out the second turn, if you can. Now, where we would in other decks attack or attach 3 Don onto the Dallinger and attack, doesn't work with this deck because they're a 6,000 power leader. In fact, every 6,000 power leader, Dallinger can't use that trick. But what we can do is we can still use a Sugar, play a Sugar, use a Sugar effect. There's 2 Don down, 1 onto leader, and then we're able to hit 6 into their ace. Usually they're going to take this first hit because they want to build up their hand rather than reduce it. So an easy first hit. If you're attaching 3 to your leader, you probably wasted 2. Turn 3 is where we start to get interesting here, where you would think it would be better to play ramp. And, you know, ramp isn't bad. If you don't have a Virgo, do ramp. But we're not in a rush to get this card out. Getting this out would be fine. So rushing to get this card out, I don't know that it will be worth it, because if you don't get the Virgo out, here's what sort of happens. I'll show you their curve now and we'll come back to ours. Their turn 1, they're doing a searcher. Probably Izzo is going to be their best one. Turn 2, for Don, they're getting a Marco out. Great defensive card is going to then allow them to ramp. Not ramp. It's going to allow their hand to just get 3 cards bigger. Really, really strong. Their turn 3. Now their turn 3 is after our turn 3. Remember this. If we play down a, let's say a Monet on our turn 3, well then on their turn 3, they drop the Josu and bounce back an Izzo and then send our Monet back to hand. Now their board has this on it and our board has nothing. This is a problem. This is a problem that is just going to cascade from here, because their following turn they do the I Am White bid into Newgate. Then they've got 3 big things, and the best thing that we could answer with then is something on curve, and you know we're just on the back foot from there. So we've lost value from this Josu coming down. So to prevent us losing value, what we're going to do is play the Virgo, then the Josu has no value in dropping. So what they're more likely to do is play a Yamato and Otama, or another searcher. Then they've got 4 things on board, and you know, they're doing pretty well for themselves. The Yamato will attach a Don to Ace, so they will get leader effect from this point as well. Very, very strong turn from this sort of curve from the Ace player. So we establish the Virgo as early as we can. This is the most important thing with our curve. Get the Virgo down as soon as we can. And if you think you can get away with playing, say, a Sugar here and ramping one, maybe go for it. If they bounce a Sugar back, not the worst. We have got a ramp from it, but I do feel like getting the Virgo down is just a safer option at this point, and ramping after is best. So turn 4, we don't have a lot of Don here. We've only got 7 Don, so we're not able to play out the Doffy here. If we did ramp on this one, we could play the Doffy out here and go into Virgo. That would be a very, very strong move, but a more risky one. So this turn we're just ramping. We're dropping a Monet. Maybe we drop a Sugar, and you know, we're just putting extra Don on here, making sure we're attacking. But you know, they're going to take it with their Marco and just buff up their hand. So you're better off having less Don on here, and yeah, just do something simple here. Do a Monet. If you've used your Dellinger, dropping a Sugar isn't bad, because then you can redirect into a Sugar on their turn into something like Monet. Turn 5, where we don't have, turn 5 we can go one of 2 ways. We've ramped one with a Monet. We only need 1 ramp, and then we could do Doffy on 10. If we got the Doffy, play the Doffy. You're probably not going to get great effect out of his KO, but do KO over resting at this stage. KO the Yamato if it's down, clear that thing off the board, and then you're dealing with a lot less. So with their curve, if they went through this, they've probably taken a hit with the Marco. You KO the Yamato, then all they've got left is going to be this Newgate. So they're going into their next turn with maybe an Izzo and a Newgate, maybe an Otama on board. All they've really got to attack you with is the Newgate, and they don't want to attack with this just yet. So if you can get this Doffy out first, do that. If you don't have it, just do something like this. And the reason I like Sugar is omnipotent. She can become anything. She can turn into Monet. She can turn into another Virgo. Getting a second Virgo is not a bad thing in this matchup. Having multiple guys on the field that can neg 2000, and if you happen to lose one, the other is there to protect the field. So that is turn 5. This one is the preference out of these two modes here. Get this down, KO the Yamato. So let's just jump back to their board now here. Their turn 5 isn't necessarily a new gate. Their turn 5 could be anything here. Usually what happens is if they don't have a Marco on the field at this stage, they're trying to get a Marco down and just sort of re-establish a little bit of a board that they can attack with. So, you might see a Marco and a Yamato, or, something of those sort of lines, maybe a Marco and a Jozu, just to get the body on the field. They do want Don on their leader, so you're probably not going to see this exact combo, but, a Marco and a Yamato, if they had both in hand, they're probably going to play that out. Get something on the leader. Another possibility is like a Marco and Uta, and maybe they do a bigger swing into your board. But essentially from this point forward is where the game starts, actually. This is a very tricky matchup in general because it isn't about the curve. It isn't about the curve at this point. So this game is won by managing the board. We win this matchup through managing their board after this. And as I was saying, if you KO the Yamato on that turn 5, and they've already lost their Marco, they have a massive hand, but they don't have a massive board. And this is where we start to take advantage, because at this point we'd have one here, one here, one here, 3 decent cards that can hit at face versus 1 blocker. And if we can keep re-establishing things like this down after this, we're going to have a good time. So our priority here is to, 1, make sure Virgo is alive. 2, attack their board. Make sure we are progressing forward if their board is depleting. Keep that in mind. We don't need to keep adding characters each turn. We need to remove their characters each turn. So if we can do that, great. And if we can remove cards from hand, great. That is our priority. Let's talk about their cards now, because we're going to have to understand what they're trying to do. And basically the game here now is all about countering their play. And if we can counter their play, we already have an advantage. We just maintain that advantage. All right, so their key cards. Now, firstly, I've put the Otama down. If you see them drop Otama and you don't have a Virgo on the field, you can bet that Jozu is going to follow. And if they don't have enough Don to play Jozu this turn, Jozu is coming down next turn and returning Otama, and then returning one of your characters. So if they play Otama and then they pass turn, you get Virgo. You get Virgo no matter how many searches you need to do. You make sure you get Virgo. Virgo will then stop their next play. So be aware of this here. Now, Jozu is a key card because he can bounce back a 6 cost or less. This is a lot. This is a lot of our cards. We have so many 5 costs in our deck. Obviously, they can't bounce when we've got the Virgo back, but they can just take anything off our board quite easily. So this is a key card that you need to play around with the Virgo. Easy one for us to play around. Next key card is obviously the Newgate. The Newgate being a massive blocker and a massive attacker. We'll talk more about it being an attacker soon. But the way we play around the Newgate is on our turn, we leave 2 Don up, we use a Noro Beam, and we are able to get past this Newgate. Now, another thing I do want to mention, which I see a lot of people not attacking into ace correctly. And it is particularly important with the Newgate. So when you're going up against a deck with a big blocker like this, what you want on the field is a threat that can take it down. And if you leave that threat if you leave that threat active, they don't want to block something small. So I can swing 6k with my leader into their leader while a new gate's up if I have, say, a Doffy and a Virgo active, because Virgo can neg 2 off this and then Doffy can hit into it for, nothing. And if I've got, say, 4 Don up as well, now I've got a threat into new gate. I have a massive threat into new gate. So I can attack 6 with my leader and take 1 from hand and leave a Virgo active. This is the important part here. I can make sure my cards are not going to be taken out next turn, and I've neutralized this new gate. And whether this new gate blocks or not, like, what's the point in attacking with, say, a Doffy or a Virgo, which is going to get blocked by a new gate? I am now risking my Virgo and, they've blocked. Where if I don't attack with the Virgo and they aren't able to block with the new gate, well, that's the same thing, except now I'm not at risk. So the trick is to attack low numbers into ace while their new gate is there. And if you can attack low numbers into ace, and this is perfect for our board because we're able to swing 6 with Monet, 6 with Monet, 6 with leader, and then pass turn. It's as simple as that. Or we might then throw the rest of our Don onto our Doffy 10 cost and swing through, leave the Virgo up. They might try and block with the new gate, but if you've gone your power over the new gate, well, then they have to commit extra cards from hand. You're able to extract more cards this way. That is the secret to big blockers like new gate. Keep that in mind. I feel like that is a very strong point to winning this matchup, and if you can do that, you can get so much value. I don't feel like this match is as hard as people make it out to be. This is actually pretty comfortable if you can find your pieces. So let's talk about Uta. Uta is a problem card because Uta costs 2 when they have a 10 cost out, I think it is, or 10,000 power. Now, the way this works is it combos in with new gate. They use the Iron Whitebeard, cost them 8 to get a 10 cost out. They've got 2 Don left, and they hit the requirements to bring out the Uta. So they're able to establish 2 big blockers in 1 turn. Very, very strong turn for ace. Other key cards, we talked about Marco, 4 cost, can get the draw 3 when 1 is on the leader. This is a big card for the ace. They are trying to establish that big hand against us. Now, I guess another important point with key cards is their leader. If they have a turn where they have 1 Don not on their leader, take advantage of that. Take advantage, put the pressure on while that is there, because they do not want to lose the Marco. They don't want to lose these bigger cards while this is up, and they will do more to protect it. Let's talk now about their counterplay. So yeah, Jozu is counterplay. Pudding, you need to be aware that they have pudding. If they attack, a 4 over your leader, if they attack 9 at your leader, it might be advantageous to use all of your cards from hand rather than taking it. Even though we're comfortable to take cards from our deck, we're being a 5 life leader, we don't want to have a big hand. And all they want to do at that stage is get you to have a big hand and drop this pudding and just destroy your game. So do not have a big hand. Use the counter throughout to defend because you don't want to have a big hand. Atmos is a mini Jozu. You reveal Whitebeards from your hand to bounce a 4 cost back. Was it 4 cost? Yeah, 4 cost back or less. 4 cost being sugar. It's not particularly worrisome in our match, particularly once we get the Virgo down. But this one here could come out on turn 2 if they didn't have the Marco. So if we were playing something strong, this one could be a problem. This is more of a problem on our going second curve, because we could get out, say, a baby 5, a sugar out on our turn 2, and then their turn 3, their turn 3, then they play this Atmos and bounce that back, just taking away. It's like this Jozu, but it's able to happen a little bit quicker. So be aware of that one if you're going second. And I guess Red Rock is another important one. If they Red Rock our Doffy, really bad, make sure you got the Virgo. That is how we play around Red Rocks. Lastly, need to talk about Roger. And I'm looking forward to talking about Roger because Roger is the win con for the Ace deck. The way Ace wins their games is they set up a big board of new gates, and once they feel like they've got enough, they play down the Roger. There is one other card I didn't mention. I might pop that on the screen now. It is the red it is the red new gate. That red new gate, when they play that down, they get 2000 power for the turn. All we need to do is delay the turn, and that's all they're trying to do is just delay the turn for this Roger to come down. When the Roger comes down, they're trying to win the game. They are trying to win the game at this point. Fortunately for us, our leader is a natural counter to this card. So our leader being able to redirect is not activating blocker. We can redirect and do just fine. Now I'm going to give you an example of how a devastating board of Ace, which would just run over any other deck, is a breeze for us. So let's have a look at this. So here's an example of the Ace win con. They have their Ace, they have 3 Rogers here, and then they go, this is the turn, guys, this is the turn. We're going for it. They have 1 life. The opponent has 1 life. We have 5 attackers. We're taking them down. They have no cards in hand. Sorry, they got 1 card in hand. They've got 1 card in hand. How could they possibly go against this board? This is the power of Doffy into this match. Let's have a look at how this looks. Well, we have 1 card in hand, but we also have a baby 5 on board. And we have 1 life. And guess what? We kept 2 Don up. And here's how this looks. So they start their swing with an Ace. Now, if they're smart, they don't start with the Ace, but you're typically going to start with the Ace because it's the lowest cost character. You drop the Roger, you then use the Ace, because if I've got a blocker, I'm not getting through. So they drop this down, and maybe they're on 0 life, and that's why the Roger activates. Ace swings. We go, okay, well, Noro Beam is a perfect time to be played because Noro does +2 to our character or leader. In this case, we bump up to a 7. We now clear this. We're fine. We clear this and we rest down a new gate. Always rest a new gate, not the Roger, because a new gate is a blocker. So we rest the new gate. They don't have a blocker for their next turn, and then will be a next turn because we're getting through this fine. So what just happened is from this 1 Noro Beam and the 2 Don, we've stopped one attack here and 1 attack here. 3 attacks left. All right. So they attack again. They attack with a new gate. New gate, we block with a baby 5. Baby 5. So we've used our redirect. Now, baby 5, on KO, we neg 1 and gain a life. So we've blocked another attack. We've gained 2 life. And look at this. Now, they've got 2 attackers left. We have 2 life. We're getting through. I think it is absolutely incredible that a board like this can be defended so easily. This is all we need to defend this. That means on our previous turn, we had 8 cards to play with, 8 Don to play with, and maybe we use 4 to set up this. So we're using 4, holding back 2. We've got 4 Don we can attack with on that previous turn to do some damage to force them into this state. And if they do attack with everything, I mean, I don't know if they're going to attack with everything. They might play this down and go, wow, they can actually get out of this. That's no good for me. That is no good for me. So this is sort of how we can combat the win con. And if you can hold multiple Noro beams and rest down multiple new gates, if you can get, two new gates rested here, they have no Don attached, they're not drawing cards when you attack. You don't need too much at this point here to be able to attack in and win. So this is how we win, is by just having that extra layer of defense and just getting through. I'm not going to really talk about the going second curve. Now, the going second curve is, I'll just jump back here. The going second curve is a lot like our going first curve. As I said, the curves aren't as important in this matchup as the how to play thereafter. You want to respond to their board. Important, if you're going second, you get the Virgo out as soon as possible. It's as simple as that. You could use a Dellinger trick, but wasting 4 Dawn on this, I think, is a waste. What you're better off doing is turn 1 Dellinger, turn 2 a Sugar, turn 3 Virgo. And if they bounce the Sugar back with a Atmos, so be it. But you've got 1 ramp from this, and that's not the worst, right? So I think that is pretty much our curve from that point. I don't think I need to talk any more about it. If you do want to talk more about it, drop a comment and ask away, and I'll be happy to talk through that. Their going first curve is, they have an awkward turn 2. They do play this turn 1. Yamato is definitely coming down that turn. And then from there, they're just doing sort of a setup turn. It might be a Jozu this turn, or it might be a Marco. But it's sort of just an off turn, and then establishing some of these after. But typically, what you might find is that something else is coming down before the new gate comes down. So there'll be an extra body before the new gate comes down. All right, I think we've talked enough about this. Let's actually have a look at 2 videos. We've got 2 games lined up, a going first example, a going second example. I had a lot of issues getting these games because you have to hit the record button to get a recording. And I did miss out on some gems, but guarantee the game 2 where, that is a great game. Anyway, check out these games. It is a learning opportunity here. All right, we have Doffy into ace. We are going first in this one, and pretty good hand. We've got the Dellinger. Happy to keep this. We also have that turn 3 Monet for the ramp, so pretty good. And the 8 cost isn't a bad top end card, so everything looks pretty good. You just take that. They get their curve. They've got the Izzo. And then they just attach 1 onto their leader. This is classic. So that way, if we do happen to attack them, they get the extra draw. Now, we've got a pretty awkward turn. We can't play anything out, so don't have too many options. Adding 1 Don to our leader is probably enough in this instance, but we just go for it. Take the life, give them 2 cards, no worries. All right, so 9 cards in their hand. Classic. Turn 2, Marco play, and swing into face. We just take this because we are okay with taking. The only consideration with taking is, do I not want to get puddinged? And as I said, we're going to play the Monet. We get the ramp. We use that Don to attack at face, and they have nothing attached to the leader, so they do not want a Marco block. This is going to be a card from hand here. Excellent. We managed to get that card back. So having a look here, because we did get the ramp, we do have access to the Doffy next turn. And look at that, guys. Otama has just come down. You know what that means. Jozu is next. They don't have enough Don for Jozu this turn, so we do have a turn up our sleeves. And they just attach the rest to Izzo here. Don't know if I like this as a play because they can't Marco block on our turn either because they don't have the Don attached. All right. And we just let this one go through. We could have redirected into the Dellinger and they just passed turn here. So, you know, they got one on us here because we should have Dellingered. We wanted the Virgo, but we happened to top deck the Virgo. And the reason we want the Virgo is this next turn, Jozu comes down. That's what they're planned for, Jozu coming down. All right, Monet, just low attack in here. They do need to defend it because they didn't attach the Don. And now we've got Virgo down. We're nice and safe, and we can't do any other attacks. We just have to pass it on there. All right, so they're doing some searching. They probably couldn't play the I Am Whitebeard into Newgate, so if they can't do that, Jozu is their next best option, even though we've got the Virgo down. They could also Yamato. Yamato is also another strong play, but the Jozu is higher power than the Yamato. All right, so they do drop the Jozu. They do the return. So they get their Otama back. I guess they wanted that Otama, the 2000 back in hand, which they can play out again. And it does Negus the Don as well. So I guess not bad. Could be a misplay. They may have not realized the Virgo, but as a whole, not bad. And now 7 in at face. Now we could redirect into Dellinger. We choose to take this one. We're on 7. It's still not the worst. We need to play a couple of things out here, which, you know, we do have a couple of things we can play. What we choose to do here, though, is take advantage of the sort of smallish board and our wideish board. Now, if we rest the Marco here, we rest the Marco. This is a rush character. We now have a lot of characters we can attack in a face. So I'm going to start big here. And they take this one. They get the extra card draw. Now, if they take a life at this point, if they take a life, they don't get an extra card draw. So they do not want to take a life. We have to throw everything at them right now. And I do neg off the Marco here as well, just planning for an attack into it. If we do take out the Marco now, they also don't get the extra card because of them taking 1 life already. Just trying to get extra cards from hand here. And then lastly, we're going to attack in at the Marco. We don't want them to just block with 1. We want them to really defend it. So if they lose the Marco now, they'll get 2 cards from the Marco, but not the extra one from leader. And they choose to, or they were going to save it, realized that he was actually negged. They mustn't have realized the Virgo negged him. Bit of a misplay there. They lost a card for nothing. All right, they play down the Whitebeard for 10, discarding the Mulgun because that's going to do nothing while we've got the Virgo on field. And then just a big number in at face. This time we finally get the redirect off, and not a great picking here. I think we'll go for this Doffy here just because we've already got a Monet, and the 1 cost isn't really going to do anything. We've got such a wide board. We're not going to be able to play it out. Could use it for a 1k counter, but let's just go for the bigger one in case they're able to clear our board at some point. All right, so we're on 8 Don. We haven't managed our Don terribly well in this game. This isn't a great example of managing our Don well. We would have liked to have got the 10 cost out sooner. All right, so we're going to do, 2 over into ace. Now we should be able to sneak past the white beard here because we have a big threat of the Doffy and the Virgo being able to take out the white beard if they choose to block it early. And they take the life here. They get the extra card draw from their leader. This is also a potential setup of a Roger here into us. So we need to be very careful here. If not next turn, the turn after, the Roger is likely to come down and try and take us out. We need to start preparing for this. We just need to attack in as much as possible as we can right now. Now we're hitting low numbers. The 6 and 6, we can get past the new gate, taking cards from hand. And maybe able to sneak a 10 past. Sorry, a 9 past. The Virgo can neg off the new gate here, and we don't get past here. We don't get past with it. We could punish their board. We could take down a Jozu. We could send this into life instead. We might want to consider setting up though in preparing to defend our board. And then they just use the discard 1 effect here. Now, this is a great play here because what we do, and I just sort of showed, I did forget about the ramp from Baby 5. I could have had an extra Don onto the Virgo here and attacked and got an extra card from their hand. So misplay on my part there too. We're sort of equal for the misplays here. We would have got an extra card. They wouldn't have lost an extra card. So I think we're sort of equal there. But what this play did is we left 2 up for the Nora Nora beam. We established a Baby 5. So if they do try and wipe us with a Roger, we know Baby 5 is the perfect counter to this. We are just eating up their board at the moment with what we have in our hand. All right, so they go here. This is an interesting play. We'll use this effect. We ramp up to 10. So we're good here. And we Nora Nora at this point now. Nora Nora protects that and it rests down their blocker. And without a blocker, they really need to consider what the rest of their Don are going to do now because they need some defense. They may play down a new gate instead. They've got 6 there. Looks like they might Marco Uta or something like that. Just trying to take out something in our board here. Now, we don't want to go too low and we're already 1 less. So if we are going to redirect, we need to be careful here. We need to keep our bodies on the board. I mean, a great next turn is potentially doing a Doffy. So we just let this go through. And there it is. They established the Marco Uta. But Marco Uta is not going to help them because we have the Doffy. And the Doffy, we could KO the Jozu as one option. The other option is even better. So KO Jozu or rest 3, 7 or less. Now I can think of 3 really good ones to rest right now. Let's say, we're not resting them, we're stopping them from resting. That means they can't block either. So we're going to do this to Uta, Marco, and Jozu. And we pick those 3, then they can't block, and then they can't attack next turn. So we're taking away the chance that they can attack us next turn. And then we've got no Don left, but we can swing 1, 2, 3 at face here. They need to defend all 3, so we're going to take a lot of Don from them as well. So Monet being 1 card. This one here, this is going to take a at least 2 cards to block. They can use that free ace effect to discard a junk card here. So 2 cards from here, 1 from an A, and 1 or 2 from Virgo. Pretty solid stuff here. 4 cards from hand minimum to get out of this, and we take it down on the spot there. So from this, I mean, that was a fairly easy win, and maybe not the best example for this strategy guide, but the gem of a video that I had lined up for you, I had some technical difficulties, I tell you. This though really showed how they play their game and what the curve looks like. Now, this is very typical. I'm going to go into game 2, and game 2, you can sort of see more of the post curve play. And essentially, it doesn't matter whether you go first or second. The post curve play is where the game is won. The reason why I kept this video in here is because you get to see how that curve works, and this one showed it perfectly. So this is when we go first, how the curve sort of works. Let's jump into game 2 so you can see the curve, but more importantly, the post curve play. All right, we have ace. We are going to choose second because I want to show the going second video. Now, that hand was rubbish. This hand, we do have the Dellinger. We have a little bit. We don't have our going second curve. We don't have a 4 cost to get some ramp. So that is unfortunate, but maybe we can find something with the Dellinger. And you know what? Top decked. No worries. Let's go. So they didn't find anything with their 1 Don. They're hoping for, say, some searches this turn. Nothing. Just going in for a big attack, no worries, and redirecting that. Let's find something good. Sugar is good here. Sugar is a better play this turn than the baby 5. Now, I do want to note, this is a ranked game, so don't think that this is a terrible player right now. They just didn't have any searches, but that doesn't mean they're going to have a bad game. So using that ramp card to then attack in, and unfortunately for us, the card that they got from life was a red rock and just sent that sugar back into our deck, just countering our play here. That is very unfortunate. Fortunate for us though, we find the Virgo. Virgo, key card. What do we do now with our Don? We could ramp and make sure we get 10 cost next turn. Or we do the smart thing, we play the Virgo. We play the Virgo. Two Don here. Let's see what they do. They can just discard a junk card here and counter out of this. So they should do that. And they use a Marco for that effect. I would expect a Marco to come down this turn. And maybe a couple of searches. Okay. A Sabo Luffy tends to be a one-of in this deck. Hitting 2 over here, negging off our Virgo. The negging off Virgo isn't really a problem though. And we just take this one. We find a decent play for next turn. And Yamato down, establishing a second Yamato gives them the extra Don on leader as well. The Don obviously, so if we attack into their other Yamato, they draw another card. And we counter out for a very specific reason. Pudding is that reason. All right, so we've got enough Don to play this down. Now, ramping is good. We're on 8. So if we ramp, we can freely block as well. The other thing that we want to think about is this Virgo here. If we attack with Virgo, here, then we are susceptible to losing him. So a different play we could do here is holding 2 up for the Nora beam. But taking out the board like this, it means there's only 2 cards that can attack into us. And we don't really need to worry about a Nora beam if we can redirect. So if we redirect 1, it means there's only 1 attack coming at us. And we do have 4K encounter in hand, so we might be okay here. It's a little bit risky, but should be okay. They can't really establish and attack into our Virgo, so we're sort of baiting here that they either have to choose, do they establish their board or do they try and take out the Virgo? And if they play a white beard now, they're basically going to have a 7, sorry, they're going to have an 8 and an 8, and we can get out of one of those 8s and redirect the other. And instead they play down a additional Yamato instead of the white beard and attack at face. Now we're worried about the next attack, so we want to redirect the next attack, not this one. The next one is already a 7, which is higher. We just take it. Our hand is low enough that we can take that one. 4 left, a 7 at face. Okay, so the 4 left is likely to be a Marco. And redirect into Dellinger. We get that Don back. So we're still at 10. And guess what we find? We find the 10. We know what our next turn's all about now. What it does mean though is we can, so we've got a couple of things to think about here. Newgate's next. We're only on 2 life. We are a little bit worried about that. We have a baby 5 in hand. We've got Nora beams. We're all sweet. If we take down something here, we're managing their board quite well. And then all we need to do is keep attacking at board at this point. And we're going to neg this down as much as possible. So now our leader has a target as well. And there you go. No, thank you. I'll just, I'll pass. Thanks. And so now let's just try and take some things off the board here. We're in a very good, really, really strong position here. Able to, just work the board at the start of the game. And now this point forward, it's all control. They're going to want to start establishing their whitebeards and just try and get defensive. But yeah, we're not going to have too much pressure on our life at this point. All right, and just countering out here, and we don't have our leader. Our leader can't swing into theirs. So we're on 7 Don. If we redirect into Monet, or if they take Monet, we could play another 10 cost. We don't have it in hand, so it is a bit risky to go for that line. But if they do attack in at Virgo, well, guess what? We're going to redirect that into Monet. They're not likely to attack with Marco, but they might. Okay, straight at face. Oh, sorry, we're on 6. We lost the extra one because we used Virgo effect. So no chance of playing a 10 cost next turn. Our hand is big, but they can't putting us again this turn. Otherwise, hiding a Noro beam in our trash and playing a Viola is a very strong play. We definitely want to get these Norrows out to rest this new gate. The Rosie would have been helpful to establish 2 Don every turn to use against this, but I think we're sort of just going to use the Don to attack and keep some Don up at the end. So Rosie wasn't really going to work out for us. We just choose to get rid of him. All right. 9 in 4. We're going to have to use our big counter here to get out of this. And this isn't too bad because it then takes Pudding Threat away, but we're losing some good stuff here. We wanted the Viola and the Baby 5. We choose to keep the Viola over the Baby 5 because it's a Norro game from this point. As I said before, we don't have a lot of pressure on life, so Baby 5 isn't as important, but the Viola could be very, very clutch. So we've got our next turn lined up. Our next turn is going to be an absolute gem because we are setting up for the 10 cost here, and if we're able to take a new gate out now, they're going to need to go wide with blockers. They've lost a bit of Marcos already. We're just able to pressure this hand, and we're going a little bit high with our attacks now, but we've got so much Don left that if we put that on Virgo and swing into Newgate, we could take down their Newgate. And this is a big threat, which means they need to use cards from hand now. 3 cards from hand to defend this. They don't want to do that, so they take. And then we could have just done 1 on our leader and swung, but that probably would have been, no, we couldn't because they're +2 because they chose to use the I Am White Beat effect last turn. So no swinging from our leader on that particular turn. No point risking the Virgo at this point either. We just want to Norro them down. And, we could Norro both right now. We can Norro the Whitebeard and the Marco from 1 swing. So let's just see what they play first. Okay, they're going straight into this. Always use this effect first, get that out of the way. Norro would actually break this, so we can get out of this easily. We need to give ourselves +2 first to get ourselves out, and then we can rest down their blocker. Big move. And the Doffy, if we drop the 10 cost, it can actually stop the Marco anyway. So really would have put a damper on their turn. They probably want to establish another 10 cost if they can. If they establish a Marco and an Uta now, it's going to wipe them. The Doffy will wipe them. We've made sure our Don is high enough that we can wipe them this turn. All right, looks like they're searching for the ingredients here. Let me know how you think this game is going so far. This is sort of classic Doffy ace play. And I do feel like at the moment it is a 50-50 game. Not this particular one. This one we're winning. But Doffy ace, I feel like it's 50-50. I never feel like it's one that I dread. All right, are they going to swing with the Marco? They choose not to, which is wise because having only 1 blocker when you got no life is a bit risky. They would like to lose the Marco and draw 3 though. So, 12 cards to defend with could be good. We want to play this pretty smart though. So Noro is our friend, and we could rest down we could stop the Marco with our Doffy and establish another big guy, or we can wait a turn, put a lot of pressure on with Don, and hold some up for a Noro and stop them. And because we got the Viola, we could actually grab another Noro and do 2 Noros next turn, on their turn, sorry. So we're a bit better off to just not use our Doffy here and hold for Don at the end of our turn. This means we need to get rid of a lot of their cards from hand this turn. We can do this. They do not want to block with this new gate on something low. If they block with a new gate, we're all in on one of their new gates. Further optimizing their hand with the Izzo isn't bad. Thrilling game, right? Thrilling game. I mean, this is a massive hand. A massive hand. Was it 13 or 12 that they got now? I think it's 12 still. Yeah. So getting rid of this one to neg 2. 2 more cards. Bring them back to 9. All right. Now, as I said, we can we need to sort of balance this out, because we can either go low with our leader, or we can still threaten with the Virgo. And we do want to keep 4 at the end, remember? So just sort of nice and easy here. Managing to get more out of hand. They're not using this blocker here. And we just cut our losses. We're going to end turn. There's no point using the Virgo at that stage. We could have put 2 onto it, made it a 9, and reduced them by 2, but you know, that's not going through. So we're able to protect the Virgo further here. We've got the blocker on field also, and if we're going to stop our board from getting wiped here, we're going to redirect into ourselves. What we want to do early though is use the Viola to get the extra Noro. All right, so they go for this delay turn setup. Really strong, really strong. It gets another body on the board. It makes it really hard for us to attack into them. So they can just do a little bit of chip damage onto us here. Now there's no point using the effect because it just rests one without ramping. What we're thinking about though is, do we redirect this attack? Do we use our blocker? And we just double click, so we lost the chance to use our blocker, but what we'll do is use the Noro beam, rest down a blocker of theirs and take the hit. And we don't need that. We don't need that extra one. All right, so they've only got one blocker. They are big though. They are big. So we can do a little bit of magic on this turn. Once again, we're in a very similar situation. We've got an Noro beam. We've got a Viola. Viola can get back a second Nora beam. So we are surviving this. This is 2 things rested plus a life and a blocker and a redirect. We are surviving this turn. This isn't a worry. How do we get the most cards out of hand is what we want to do right now. They've only got the 1 blocker, but they're big, which is a bit of a problem. So we go big at face. This is above their blocker as well. So if they rest their blocker, they're going to lose cards, and they don't want to lose extra cards. We might be able to take their blocker here through this effect. Otherwise, they're just losing a lot of cards from hand. Because, yeah, the threat, and I don't think they can commit 2 cards here. Because the threat of the Doffy and the Virgo coming down now might be a bit much for them. This deck tends to run, I think it's about 40k in counter, but half of their cards are counter. So half of their hand now, we've done a lot of chip damage, so probably half of their hand right now is going to be counter. And, 8 cards in hand, they probably got 6k in counter as a guess. So they lose their blocker. We could split now. Let's just chip a little here. If we keep 4 up, then we can Noro beam their stuff down here. We may just keep 2 up and put extra pressure down though. 1 more card here. All right. And so we attack in now, and we don't need to use effect. We get an extra card from hand. All right, so we really hit their hand hard here. Really hit it hard. Now, we're completely safe here. Once again, managed to get rid of one of the big bodies. So exactly the same position as our last turn, except they have a lot less cards in hand. This is how this game is played, is just dwindling down their hand. You maintain your board, you hurt their board. Now, they've dropped the Roger. We know what this looks like, guys. This is a-okay for us. This is the perfect scenario for us. We don't use this effect, otherwise we're going to lose one of our Don. We cancel this one. We cancel the next one. We can do something really, really mean here. We don't even need a second Noro beam. All we need is the first one. If we can hit their new gate, they have lost. If we just hit their new gate, the question is, do we take the hit or do we redirect? And we can sucker them in a little bit here and just take the hit. So what it looks like to them is, and I mean, this is just taunting them really, because it makes them look like they could win. I could have redirected that instead. And honestly, that wouldn't have changed the gameplay at all. But what we're going to do is redirect here. We can redirect into the Viola, keeping our big bodies on the board because we want to attack in. Grab a Noro beam. Noro is not going to do anything right now. But we've still got 2k from the Uso Hachi. No worries. This is game at this point here. So sort of estimating their hand here. 6 should be more than enough to get through, and it is. And we still had the extra on field. Really straightforward game. They overestimated how much power they had in hand, like on their field. They needed another body, another big body at least to be able to get through that board. And even then, they wouldn't have been able to with us having 2 Noro beams. if you pause this and have a look at this video, you'll see if they had another big body on the field that could attack into us that last turn, if they had an extra swing, all we would have done is on their Roger swing or their ace swing, use the extra Nora beam to swing down that extra big body, and we would have been surviving that as well. So 3 is not enough. They would have needed 4 is not enough. They would have needed 5 big bodies to be able to get through us on that turn, which is absolutely wild. But this is why Doffy can do just fine into ace, as long as you're setting up that defensive hand ready to use it, and until they're showing the signs that they are going to attack, you just keep hitting their hand. This is how this game is won. Hope that helped. If you have any questions about those games, do feel free to ask them. All right, thanks for sticking around, watching those videos, and that supports me in a great way. And if you want to support me further, drop me a like and sub if you haven't already, because that means a lot to me. And I will continue to put out some guides. I do plan on doing a Boa guide and a Doffy into Doffy the Mirror guide. I think both of these are important. I think I'll go for the Boa first because that has a different style of play to what we've seen with the other decks, and I think that is going to be very important. Where I feel the Doffy is a little bit more nuanced, and it's going to be more similar to how we've run it in this ace build. So if you are having some trouble with the Doffy until that guide comes out, play it in a similar way to this ace. You're very much responding, and never overcommit. Don't overcommit. That is how we lose with our Doffy deck, is when we think we've won and we haven't. You have the advantage always. Just keep chipping away at them until they have nothing left and you have a mass win. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed all this. Until next time, look after yourselves and look after your decks.